Hello, Colorado Realtors. I'm Scott Peterson. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Legal Bites. Today I'm going to be talking about, we're going to be doing kind of back-to-back videos on state statute issues, changes in state statutes that have an impact on real estate brokers, on realtors in general. And the first one I'm going to talk about today, though, is the real estate license transition that is going to be, it's already begun occurring candidly, and this is based on a statutory change that was signed by the governor and implemented through the legislature last year in 2017 related to the sunset review of the Division of Real Estate. One of the recommendations that came out of the sunset review is that as opposed to how it had been having licensees and certainly realtors as well on an anniversary basis for their license expiration and therefore renewal. So if you originally got your license on September 10th, whatever year it was good for 3 years up until that date again. They're going to move everybody over the course of the next few years on a staggered basis to a calendar year license renewal. And that's started to occur already for licensees that are in their calendar year or that expired this year. And so again, this was done by the state legislature, mandated that the Division of Real Estate through the Sunset Review move everybody to a calendar year expiration. It was done for clarity, for efficiency, a lot of reasons. Most people don't have any concept of the first date of their original licensure, and that's what everything was previously wheeled off of. But January 1st, license renewal, that makes sense to everybody. So it's going to take place, like I say, transitionally, but there's a couple of implications I want to point out because of that. So just by way of example, let's say that somebody has an October 31st license expiration coming up later on this year. What will happen in that case is that you will essentially get normal license renewals are for 3 years, 3-year periods. But if you expire at, just by way of an example, of October 31st of this year, you would essentially get a 2-year and 2-month license. So the duration of 2018 plus 2 additional years, and therefore your license would expire December 31st, 2 years, 2 months out, and your new license would then kick in January 1st of whatever that would end up being, 2021, I guess. Essentially, your license would expire. So your new license coming up this year is only a 2-year plus whatever balance you have, and that's going to continue to carry forward over the next 3 years as licenses in their 3-year license cycle continue to expire. So implication from that, obviously, is that you've got a shortened license cycle. Well, one of the things that's built into our licensing framework is the annual commission update course. It's the 4-hour ACU or 4-hour update course that you as a licensee or as a realtor are required to take every single year. So we know that on a 3-year license cycle, normal 3-year license cycle, you've got an obligation to complete 24 hours total, 24 total hours of continuing education. 12 of those, because you're required by statute to take one 4-hour update course every single year during your license cycle, 12 of those 24 hours are always going to be, always have been, the 4-hour ACU. The problem that sort of came up as a result of this license transition is that in a normal year, let's say that if your license does expire, as in my example, on October 31st of this year, let's say also as by way of example, and I know all of you none of you wait until that week between Christmas and New Year's to take your ACU, right? You always take it early in the year as you've been instructed to, and really is the best practice. But let's say you took the 2018 ACU in June of this year. Well, that 2018 ACU applies to your previous license cycle, before your license expires on October 31st. So now you have a 2-year and 2-month license cycle based on my example, and you're only going to have available to you 2 ACUs, one for 2019 and one for 2020, because you've already taken 2018, and that's applicable to your expiring year license cycle, right? So there would only be 2 ACU classes available to you, again, just in my example, in which case you could only have 8 hours total of ACU classes before your license expires again. So this year, as part of just this most recent legislative session, having acknowledged and seen the problem, The Division of Real Estate ran another bill that basically says that in a transition license cycle, in a less than 3-year license cycle during this transition period, that a broker, a licensee, therefore a realtor, would only have to have 2 ACU classes in that 3-year period, because they might not be able to get 3, would only have to have 2 ACU classes, but still have to have the mandatory minimum of 24 hours of education. And so that is a legislative change that took place just this year in the last legislative session to address this gap or this problem that was created the year before by the license transition cycle. So be mindful of that. You still have to have, even though, again, in my example, a 2-year, 2-month license period, you're still going to have 24 hours of education, but only 8 of those hours will need to be in the 2019 and 2020 ACU classes, right? And you'll still need to have then 16 hours total of elective education, or account for a total of 24 hours total education in that license cycle. So be mindful of that as you're planning your continuing education over the next couple of years, and as you fall into that transitional license cycle during the license year that you expire. Still going to need all the education, but you will only need, during your 3-year transition or less than 3-year transition period, 8 hours of annual commission update course. I know it's confusing, but I wanted to clarify that. Hopefully I didn't make it more confusing for you. If I did, then the Colorado Association of Realtors Legal Hotline is always available for your use Monday through Friday, 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. Love to hear from you, and if you need more clarification on the license transition cycle as you go through it, please feel free to call. It's a perfect type of question for the Legal Hotline. Thanks for joining me, and look forward to seeing you again on another edition of Legal Bites.